I think we were trying to recall and live the mindset of Mary Aikenhead, who was so practical and whose stated aim in, for example, establishing St Vincent's Hospital was so that the poor could have for love what the rich had for money. And we realised that we don't have an absolute monopoly on ideas. Lots of people out there had ideas that we felt were totally in line with our charism. They mightn't talk about the love of Christ, but essentially the love of Christ was impelling them, and is impelling them, to bring up solutions that meet the real needs of the poor.
And I see them through the foundation reaching out to people who may not have a voice, who are marginalised, who don't even know where to turn to help, and in many instances think that they're not even worth worrying about. And they're the very people that the sisters are so wonderful to. I know this from my own years as a resident at St Vincent's Hospital, and the history of the charity order in Australia is a very noble and compassionate one.
The Sisters of Charity established the foundation to enable us to provide support and financial assistance to those community organisations which were working with the poor and the marginalised, in particular small community organisations which otherwise would have found it very difficult to obtain support because they were less known in the community.
Servants of Jesus community, we're an ecumenical community. A number of years ago we started up this charity called Community Care, and the aim of Community Care is to help provide relief for people that are struggling, for the poor, there's people that are doing it a bit hard in life. We're very grateful for the grant from the Sisters of Charity. It's been wonderful for us because that has helped us to be able to fund what we're doing here, providing the food for the barbecue, buying the food parcels.
We've had some people come here every week for 3 years. We've had other people come here and they haven't eaten for 3 days, and they're in tears because they appreciate the fact it's free and there's no expectations.
So I spent 12 months talking to schools all over Queensland, teachers and school principals and chaplains, and I asked them the question, what is the most important and urgent need of disadvantaged kids? And the answers they came back were practical things. They need shoes, like little shoes like this, and socks. That's going to help these kids get to school when it's raining and cold. It's going to help these kids participate in school sports, help them not miss out on things like school activities, because of course, if they don't have proper shoes, they can't go. The Sisters of Charity Foundation, thanks to their support, there are 200 very, very big smiles out there for kids that have got brand new shoes. And for most of these children, they've never ever owned a pair of brand new shoes ever in their life.
The Coats for the Homeless is the national project now for the Order of Malta in Australia. An individual member started producing these coats after consulting with the homeless themselves. Instead of us designing what we thought they needed, we asked them what they wanted. They wanted it inconspicuous, it had to be waterproof, it's got a hood, it's got internal pockets for the few possessions that they might have. The grant from the Sisters of Charity was quite crucial because we had only been going 1 year, and it was quite a significant amount, $10,000. It's that sort of catalyst that moves the whole program into another dimension. And at 3 coats for $100, that's a lot of coats.
The prime thing that we try and do is we enable independence. The items that we provide allow people to do things using the abilities that they have. So we're not concentrating on disabilities, we're concentrating on the abilities that people have and providing solutions that enable them to go off and do things as independently as they can.
Most of Melanie's week comprises of a lot of activities that she enjoys and that she has the ability to strive in, and this is the only aspect that she can actually recognise it as work and know that she's actually contributing as well as everybody else.
Look, what touched me was these women experiencing this domestic violence, and
having to leave a relationship with their children. And some of them were just so desperate. We were able to help some of the women escaping domestic violence with their fridges and washing machines. How long would you last without a fridge? To put the milk in. The milk would only last a couple of days, and the butter and the eggs, and you just wouldn't exist. And that is so important to us as Australians, isn't it? To have your own home and to have a base and somewhere where you can sleep at night and feel safe and your children can feel safe.
I like to say we're really in the business of increasing confidence and self-esteem in women, and the clothes are a tool we use to do that. Dress for Success is a registered charity, and we provide free interview and work-appropriate clothing for women who are looking for work. Long-term unemployed women, we work with a lot of women coming out of the corrective service system. We also provide clothing for when they get a job, court appearance, or really any important life event where a new outfit will help increase her confidence and self-esteem. When women come and see us, they're often won't make eye contact. You can see that there's absolutely none of that confidence there. We recognise the importance of having that suit to make that perfect first impression. We offer women workshops on how to dress for the interviews, how to do their resume. We're able to do this completely free of charge. It would not have been possible to grow to this and help this number of women all across the state without that initial support and faith in us. The money was extremely valuable to us, but the faith that the Sisters of Charity showed in our organisation really meant a lot to our board when we were starting out.
In order to get people with disabilities into employment, it's obviously really important to use technology well, and that really is what Fighting Chance is about. So examples of the sorts of technology that really change the employment space for people with disabilities include an air chair that allows a person to get out of their wheelchair and really sit comfortably and access the computer, a special mouse, a trackable mouse, which allows a person to be able to interact with the computer, through to something like a hoist, which allows a person to access the bathroom facilities.
We can take people and develop their skills, educate them, train them to do the work that we need them to do. That is very different to actually finding a person saying, do this or don't do this.
Hi, my name is Kylie. I love working here at Fighting Chance. With grants such as yours and others have enabled me to use my Liberator Echo, the device I am using now, to communicate with the desktop computer via a Bluetooth and special adaptive mouse.
We're only able to do what we do because we don't get any government support, with the support of so many people, so many philanthropic groups and companies. The Sisters of Charity have been absolutely fantastic in helping Fair Share over the years, and more recently they've seen the need for us to capture that surplus quality food and get it to schools where a relatively high number of kids come from disadvantaged backgrounds.
Just from my experience when I was teaching in the western suburbs, you'd often have children come into school, haven't had breakfast, they don't bring lunch, you can't concentrate, you fade. So some of the schools do breakfast programs so the children can come to school a little bit earlier and they're provided with breakfast that they wouldn't have at home. Some of the schools give the children lunch so that they can see the rest of the day out and learn properly.
L'Arche is one of its aims is to integrate completely with society. We're just part of society and we've got a lot to share and reveal to society, as well as integrate and learn from them. The Sisters of Charity were very generous and donated 2 wonderful items to us. One was our new washing machine, which we use every day, and the other thing is a brand new lawnmower. Helps keep our premises and our house beautiful like everyone else in the street. We just want to look after our gardens, and it's been such a help.
So the House of Welcome began just over 10 years ago, and it was a small group of volunteers really responding to a need that they saw in the community for asylum seekers and refugees who'd been released from immigration detention on temporary protection visas. The Sisters of Charity have been supporting our Safe Place Transitional Housing program for a number of years, and the aim of the program is really to provide shelter and a stable platform for asylum seeker families and individuals who are at risk of homelessness. Asylum seekers can't access any mainstream housing that's available in the community, and so the community support that's provided by the House of Welcome is really very essential. Most people stay there for about 10 to 12 months, and during that time they work with our caseworkers and our volunteers and our housing coordinator to gain information and develop skills and community connections that will help them to sustain private rental properties and enable them to live an independent life once they've transitioned from our housing.
We want to give the very best to those who need the most. We want this book to go to 120 Aboriginal preschools in New South Wales so they can give it to the mothers and say, hey look, play, fun, Aboriginality, culture, you name it, it's all there. I think people forget the incredible good that for a persecuted people, loving hands, caring hearts, hands outstretched to welcome, joy and play and learning neutralise all those other horrible things that have gone out.
This time I've come here, I mean, I'm on the verge of losing my family and all that sort of stuff through my addiction, through cannabis, alcohol, ice. I'm going to rehab this time. I'm actually going to give it a real good go. I mean, if this place here wasn't open as often as it is, I'd probably be out there dead, or I don't know. Like, I'm just grateful for Gorman House.
It keeps us open. It allows us to stay a 24/7 service. To me, just knowing that we're in people's minds is one thing, but then to open up your checkbook, your pocket, and hand over some cash, that puts it on a totally different level.
Gorman House gives you that chance, that opportunity to save your life, and I'm just very grateful. For whoever is donating, it's not going to waste, I can tell you that much.
In addition to the grants we give to community initiatives, a more recent development is that the Foundation is now supporting scholarships to young people to enable them to go to university. These young people, oftentimes from foster homes, have not had the same benefits that many Australians take for granted. We are giving them the opportunity to further their education, and that will make a difference to the community at large.
When I was born, both of my parents were drug users and had alcohol problems. And I grew up with that until I was about 6, and my dad passed away from a drug overdose. And on my 7th birthday, I was taken away and put into foster care. I always knew that I was going to do things in life, but I just never thought that it would ever be possible. And I always used to dream about coming to uni, and I finished high school and I really wanted to, but I just didn't have the support from anyone.
These young people are sometimes the most disadvantaged in our society, and that's happened to them through no fault of their own. It's part of the lottery of life. And so if we can even that lottery up by helping some of those young people to get some of the good things that the rest of us take for granted, then that's a very, very important thing.
This university has stood for access for the best and the brightest. That doesn't equate necessarily, or shouldn't equate, to the richest and the private school educated. It means a lot to me to be able to offer scholarships to disadvantaged students, and the Sisters of Charity one in particular, because I've always believed that it takes an entire country of young people to be nurses. We have a diverse population of people in hospitals, and we have to match that diversity with the students who come through university.
I think that it increases our capacity to open our doors to students who otherwise couldn't consider a university education. You know, it's quite expensive to come to a university, even if you get Commonwealth support. To actually take the opportunities of everything that's on campus, one needs a little bit of financial backing, and these scholarships will be crucial so that students can access what they need to access when they're on campus.
Inherent in our ethos and our objects of a university is the dignity and respect for all individuals. And so this sits so nicely with what we already do and essentially promote the best and the dignity of the individual, and scholarships allow that. Scholarships especially for disadvantaged students, as these scholarships are targeted.
I'm very thankful and just know that my life has literally changed so much and forever will because of that money that you have given to the scholarship.
So these scholarships for deserving young people who are able but may not have the material ability to go as far as they would like or actually intellectually able to do, to have this support is truly the greatest investment that can be made.